All right, guys, welcome back to the Spar Scene MMA Show. Today, we're doing best bets for this weekend's UFC 298, Volkanovski versus Topuria. We did pretty well yesterday for the Piper card. Hermanson and Piper fight night last night. We did pretty good. We went 2 out of 3. So we're probably back at even after the bad week we had before that. So this weekend, we're going to try to get back in the groove of things, get you guys some money. Like we said last time, you lost your house, you got divorced, you need to make a lot of money. Just watch us. We helped you guys out yesterday, and we're going to help you guys out this weekend. So let's get into it. Best bets for UFC 298. Play the video.
Oh, show me the money, huh? Show me the money.
So I'm going to be starting us off today with a pick. And to be honest, one thing that I like to do is get my pick out of the way early in the card so that my anxiety levels can just dip and then I can enjoy the rest of the fights without worrying about what the outcome is going to be. But in this case, one of the reasons why I gravitated towards this fight is it's kind of, to me, an open and shut case. So right starting out the card, we've got what I believe is one of 2 women's fights on this card. We have Miranda Maverick versus Andrea KGB Lee. So Andrea Lee is one of those fighters that her striking's really good. She's got some slick Muay Thai. She's got good, I'd say, awareness overall. Her grappling is definitely one where I see her kind of holding on a little bit for dear life, a lot of close guard, a little bit of stalling. I would like her to start pushing on people's hips a little bit, get back up so she can use her skills. But in a lot of ways, she gets trapped in that. When she's fighting people who are very physical, people who can kind of GSP her, she falls into that trap of just getting worked, getting wrestled, and getting controlled. Miranda Maverick is a fighter who is on the come up. Honestly, I think, and I hate to say this, Brad, I think she got robbed against your girl, Macy Barber. I did not think that she lost that decision, actually. It was one of those ones where, kind of like Holly Holm does, Macy Barber was very competitive, and she was beating the air very hard. She was throwing a lot of good jabs at the air, a lot of leg kicks at the air, and then making sort of like a tennis sound when she would throw the strikes, which I guess the judges are supposed to hear that and be like, oh, well, that was impactful because there was a sound. It was like a EI, right? So sorry to be a hater, but we want people to get a little bit closer when you're throwing the strike. So there's a possibility that you may actually make contact. And since it's women's MMA, if we get too close, you might get head and arm thrown, which here's what I think. There's going to be some point in this fight where Miranda Maverick is going to close the distance. She's going to be getting tired of getting peppered with shots. I think she's going to close, start hitting her with some takedowns and just kind of smothering her. I don't think that these 2 ladies necessarily have massive power. So I'm taking Miranda Maverick by decision, money line. That's me.
Okay. All right. If you say so, I think Macy Barber definitely won that fight. But I'll let that slide for today. So I'm going to keep it with the women's matchup. I'm going to go Amanda Lemos over Mackenzie Dern by KO. The odds that we have here, -125. That's for money line. I do have it by KO. Those odds are not out yet. I think Amanda Lemos is too strong. I think she's too good standing up. She knocked out Marina Rodriguez. She did lose to Zhang Wei Li in her last fight, but yes, Zhang Wei Li. Mackenzie Dern, she looked good against Angela Hill. She really did. She was coming off that divorce. She had some fire in her eyes, and she looked good, but then she turned around the next fight camp and didn't have Jason Perillo in her corner, and that's when things started changing. And if you look at what she's doing now, she's at Crunch Fitness training with her father. So I don't know how much training she's getting. I don't know how much training she's getting into this, but she needs to be working on her boxing and her footwork and how to get an opponent to the ground to actually do jiu-jitsu, because she can't get the opponents to the ground. What's surprising is Mackenzie Dern is only 30 years old. I feel like if you looked at her fights, you'd think she was like 35, 36. Lemos is 36. So that's kind of surprising. But I do think Lemos still has the speed advantage and the power advantage. And Mackenzie, I love you, but we're not here to make friends. We're here to make money. So give me Amanda Lemos by KO.
When you say the age, Brad, are you saying that you get the feeling that it feels like she's a finished product already? Like her techniques
I
are
feel like
already,
Mackenzie
that's
Dern
it?
is past her prime. She's past her prime, but she's only 30, which should be going into her prime. Like her prime was in like her 27, 28 maybe, and years old, and like she's 30, and I feel like she's already falling off. But again, I think it's because of her fight team. She doesn't have Perillo anymore. Perillo's doing this thing with Marlon Vera, I think. So, and I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what team she's with. I know her dad trains jiu-jitsu with her, which is great. He's a legend in the sport, mainly in the gi, not the no gi, but I think she needs to learn how to box, maybe get some kickboxing, some wrestling, because what she has isn't going to do too much. I think Lemos just too smart of a fighter to let her get to the ground and do her thing.
Yeah, I like to see how her striking improved since the last couple of fights, because it was horrible.
Yeah, very, very bad. Very
Jessica
bad.
Andrade fight is very telling.
And that's why I think it'll be by KO, because, I mean, her chin's just sitting there. I mean, just waiting to be blown out. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think this fight win by KO for sure.
All right. So for my bet, I'm going with the main event, Alex Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria. Alex is coming off his loss to Islam. He did say recently he was drinking almost every day before the fight, which is unusual for him. He did take the fight on late notice. But hey, he's still one of the featherweight GOATs. I mean, that's debatable. He can be the GOAT. Alex, I know you have different opinions on that. But he's running into a truck of what Ilia Topuria is. He hasn't lost a fight yet. This guy is full of confidence. He's already in his Instagram bio calling himself the champ. He's been talking a lot of trash. I mean, this is very similar to what people were saying about Conor back in the day. I don't know if I agree too much with that, but it's very similar. And this is a tough one. The odds are pretty even. I was going to stay away from this fight, but someone before the show, a secret source, brought up a interesting stat. Brad, I'm gonna lay it down for you guys. Ilia Topuria is filming a documentary about becoming champ. Like, he basically said, like, this is gonna be a documentary about me becoming the champion. He already talked about it. But we go back into history. Conor filmed a doc, lost to Habib. Izzy filmed a documentary. He lost to Strickland. And then last night, Joe Piper was filming a documentary and lost to Hermanson. So, based off those stats, I'm going to go with Alexander the Great, Volkanovski, money line. Right now, it's at -109. Hey, I think this can make him become the GOAT, like Topuria. Everybody's hyping him up. Honestly, I'm surprised Topuria is not favored. This would give me better odds for Volkanovski. Maybe that would change throughout the week. Maybe they see the confidence that Topuria has in embedded, and Volkanovski becomes the underdog. I don't know, but as of right now, the money line is at 109 or -109. So I'm gonna go with that based off the documentary, just based off Alex as being one of the GOATs. So yeah,
There's one more person in this fight card, in the main card, that's making a documentary as well.
Who is it?
Yeah.
Anybody want to guess who that name is? Ian Gary.
Oh.
So if you want an extra bet behind the paywall, Jeff Neal, underdog.
Oh,
Jeff Neal.
Yeah, that's
There's
a
other
Spar
stuff
Scene
here.
collective bet.
Yeah, and Simon, there's
the
more
plus
to
one.
this too. Because, like, think about it. He's got that confidence, and he's coming in, and we're going to do a little bit more in-depth analysis of this later this week. Before the card, most likely. But there's a lot of things that he is laying out there on a silver platter. Like, he's got a very wide base. He can be kicked out of that base. I also think that Topuria has normally got his way in fights, like very early on. So the thing is, what if it doesn't go his way, like in that first 2-3 rounds? Is Alex able to, like, tip the scales because he stays so consistent, stays so safe? I know earlier last year I was really riding Volkanovski really hard, and I do believe that there's a chance that he gets finished in this fight, but that's what makes this one super exciting, man. I could see Topuria crumbling, like, with that too much confidence problem. Like, if things don't go his way and he doesn't, like, tag and hurt Alex in the first two, we might see him start to take over and be like, all right, we're okay. This guy's not hitting as hard. We're safe. We hit his legs.
It's kind of like Pfeiffer, honestly, last night. He hasn't been, he hasn't had a tough matchup that took him to deep waters. And Hermanson did that, and he won. He won the last 3 rounds of the fight. Topuria's dominated all of his fights, either early or if you look at his last fight against Josh Emmett, he went 5 rounds, but it was brutal rounds. Like, he was destroying Josh Emmett every single round. So yeah, I'm curious to see how he handles that adversity that I think Volkanovski should bring if it gets past the first few rounds.
Yeah. And this was a tough choice for me. Like, it's 50-50. And like you said, I think we'll go more into it, but those first 2-3 rounds are going to be huge for both fighters. And who knows if that knockout, we know how fighters do after knockouts, getting knocked out. I don't know how Alex is going to recover from that. So that's another thing we got to look at. But yeah, that pretty much does it for the best bets for this weekend. This Saturday, we're going to try to go live before the fights and dive more into the fight card because, like you guys said, there's so much more on this card. It's a really, really good card. Talk more about how much Brad hates eating Gary in that, and then we'll cover the other good fights. Like, we have Copy Love as an underdog. That was another one I was looking at, so we can check that one out and dive into the main event. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you guys get notified when we go live. Because that would be a lot of fun. Come and join us, and then check out the Instagram, the Twitter. You guys all know about that, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.